There are books that were not written to be read, but to awaken. They do not come from the human mind, but from the silence between two breaths of the universe. It is said that when a soul is ready, the book finds them, not through the hands of a seller, not lying on a shelf, but appearing in the moment the heart begins to yearn for something beyond understanding. A call that arrives not through sound, but through quiet vibration. That is how forbidden books begin their journeys. No one knows who wrote it. No one remembers when it was created. All that remains is an ancient energy hidden between the lines, as if the universe itself had used language to speak to humankind about its own laws. The book does not promise power or miracles. It only whispers that humanity has always been the creator. The question is not how to create the world, but how to remember that the world is being created through oneself. The story begins when humanity has wandered too far into the noise of intellect. People know much, calculate well, yet have forgotten the inner voice within everything they do. In that very moment, souls begin to hear a calling, not the call of knowledge, but of remembrance. That call leads them toward the old pages, where the principles of the cosmos are not taught, but felt. The first to find it was not a sage nor a seeker, but an ordinary person, someone weary of chasing appearances while forgetting that their soul was breathing in the dark. When the book is opened, it does not teach how to turn desire into reality. It simply reveals that everything is already real. It speaks of a power that lies not out there, not in prayer, but in unwavering belief at the deepest layer of consciousness. Belief is no longer a thought, but a state. When one believes as naturally as breathing, as constantly as sunlight, reality begins to move accordingly. The book's preface begins with a question, not a question to be answered, but to awaken memory. Are you ready to return to the seat of the Creator? That question does not sound through the ears, but vibrates through the entire being. Only those who remain still long enough in silence can hear it. For to hear the language of the universe, one must first step beyond the noise of oneself. The first reader was not searching for answers, he was seeking truth. The truth that nothing around him happens by chance. Every failure, every opportunity, every encounter is a mirror reflecting what unfolds within. And the forbidden book teaches that instead of changing circumstances, one must change their own frequency. When the inner world shifts, reality rearranges instantly. It is not magic, it is law. Just as a radio wave only plays sound when tuned to the right frequency, the world reveals only what one believes most deeply. But no one was warned that this journey would not be easy. When a soul chooses to remember its own power, the darkness of forgetfulness resists. Fear, doubt, and the voice of reason will try to drag one back to the safe zone of ignorance. The book does not tell us to run from this, it teaches us to go through it. For only by looking directly at fear can one see its other side, light. From there, the journey begins. Not a journey to find something new, but to return. Everyone who reads the first few pages feels something strange. The book seems to be writing about them. It describes the thoughts they once had, the dreams they once forgot, the feelings they thought were lost, as if each word were alive, seeing through them, calling them back to the deepest part of themselves. In its opening passages, the book reminds that the universe operates not by randomness, but by the law of belief. That belief is not built by intellect, but by wordless certainty. When one knows the sun will rise, they do not pray for it. Likewise, when one knows what they believe already exists, they do not wait. Every thought, every feeling, every action becomes a command sent into space. And space, being nothing more than a mirror of consciousness, responds perfectly. Some ask, if everything is born from belief, what is real and what is false? The book does not answer. It only writes, real and false differ only in the depth of belief. What is believed deeply enough becomes real. What is merely thought, in passing, dissolves into nothingness. Reality does not choose, it only reflects. And the creator does not beg, they simply remember that everything they imagine has already been sown into the field of existence. The book closes its first part with a simple ritual. Stand in silence at dawn, watch the light spread, and ask yourself if the sun never doubts its return. Why should you doubt your ability to create light within yourself? Take a deep breath and feel that the universe is breathing with you. In that very moment, the energy of creation begins to move. That is the moment when the reader ceases to be a reader. They become a keeper. They understand that the forbidden book was never hidden. It was merely waiting for the soul mature enough to read with its own light. And when the final page closes, a new chapter opens within consciousness, the chapter of the reality creator. Then, the voice of the universe rises within the silence. You did not come to learn how to create anything. You came to remember that you have already created everything. The true journey begins from that very instant. No more coincidence, no more desire, only awareness. For when one knows they are the writer of their own story, the world around them also begins to rewrite itself in the language of light. This world does not operate by chance, but by the invisible certainties carried within the human heart. Every person is a creator, whether they are aware of it or not. They call what happens around them luck, destiny, or divine will. But deep beneath the surface of consciousness, it is all the result of the beliefs they have sown. Belief is not a thought. It is a subtle, energetic structure, a command to the universe, the frequency from which reality is born. When one believes deeply enough, everything begins to rearrange to mirror that belief, just as a still lake only reflects the sky it knows most intimately. The sacred law of belief is one of the first principles of creation. It does not belong to religion or philosophy, but to the natural mechanism of consciousness. Everything you have ever seen, touched, or lived through is the manifestation of the convictions you once held in your heart. The one who believes they are loved will meet love. The one who believes they are abandoned will find proof of loneliness. It is not because the universe discriminates, but because it faithfully reflects whatever is sent from within. Within the energetic field surrounding human beings, belief functions as an invisible magnetic force. It draws corresponding possibilities into the same timeline. When you believe in something long enough, the fragments of reality begin to gather, forming the picture that reflects that belief. Some call this destiny, but in truth it is the precise accuracy of universal law. A firm belief is stronger than 1,000 prayers, because prayer often carries doubt, while pure belief simply knows it is done. The ancients understood this well. They did not speak much of belief, they lived within it. When they sowed seeds into the earth, they never doubted the harvest, for they knew the law of growth had been activated the moment the seed touched the soil. When a mother placed her hand upon her child's chest, she did not beg for love, she knew that love was already there. Every miracle is born in a state of certainty, not in the trembling question of whether it will happen. That is the secret of those who live in co-creative flow with the universe. But to understand belief, one must distinguish between believing and thinking. Thought is the shallow layer of the mind, where reason may say, "I believe," but deep beneath, another voice whispers, "I am not sure." When these two layers conflict, the universe only listens to the deeper one. Only true belief, a state where body and mind dissolve completely into certainty, creates form. A person may say, "I believe I am worthy," but if doubt still lingers in the heart, the energy sends a signal of lack and reality responds accordingly. The The sacred law of belief does not receive words, it receives vibration. Therefore, the process of creation does not begin with action, but with the refinement of belief. Each person must become the guardian of their inner soil, where the seeds of consciousness are planted. They must learn to observe the beliefs they are living with, the beliefs about worth, about love, about success, about life. What you believe, you will see. What you doubt, you will lose. Not because the world takes it away, but because your energy no longer sustains that form in reality. This law carries no morality. It does not reward the good or punish the wicked. It is as neutral and precise as gravity. When you drop an object, it falls. When you hold a belief, it crystallizes. The only issue is that humans often believe more in fear than in light. They believe the world is difficult, that money belongs to others, that love easily fades, and that belief becomes evidence, deepening the very fear they hold. Nothing is more cruel than forgetting that you are the one issuing commands for the entire game. When a person begins to reverse their belief, everything moves accordingly. One who believes they are abundant begins to act differently, speak differently, see the world differently. They do not try to convince anyone, they simply live in the new frequency, and the world, like a sensitive mirror, responds instantly. People call it luck, but in truth, it is spiritual physics, like energies resonate with each other. When you affirm something with the entirety of your being, the universe cannot help but respond. Belief is both the first and the final tool of the Creator. You may study every technique and method, but without belief, all of it remains form without life. Yet once belief is established, what once seemed impossible becomes natural. When you believe in something as though it has already happened, every current of energy in the universe begins to reorganize itself to serve that image. Belief does not require evidence, for it is what creates evidence. When you walk in conviction, the path opens beneath your feet. To practice the sacred law of belief, the ancients passed down a simple ritual. Each morning, when the sun still hides below the horizon, stand quietly in silence and choose one thing you desire. Do not pray, do not imagine, simply know that it already exists. Feel that certainty as your heartbeat, as your effortless breath. Hold it for a few minutes, then let it go. Not letting go as denial, but as release, because it is complete. From that moment, your belief has issued the command and the universe begins to align every element required. Pure belief does not tremble, does not doubt, does not argue. It simply knows. And in that state of knowing, one no longer chases reality, but becomes the center from which reality is born. When you understand this law, you stop asking when, you stop wondering how. You simply remain in the state of knowing that it is already true. The universe cannot help but respond, for you and it are one. The sacred law of belief does not ask us to become something new. It only invites us to remember the natural operation of the soul, to believe like a child, to be certain like the sun, to rest like the earth. And then, upon deeper realization, we see this truth. Belief itself is form in its most subtle state. Before it becomes matter, it is vibration. Before it is vibration, it is consciousness. And that consciousness, when affirmed, becomes the world. Therefore, nothing is beyond the reach of the one who knows how to believe. Reality is not outside, it is blooming from within the observer. Every miracle is merely the consequence of a belief that has become absolute. When this voice ends, close your eyes and ask yourself, what do I truly believe in? For that, sooner or later, will take form in your world. Everything that humans call the world does not exist as an objective entity, but as a mirror reflecting perception. When we change the way we see, the reflection changes as well. The world has no personality, no intention, neither good nor evil. It simply mirrors whatever we carry in our hearts. Since ancient times, sages have known that perception does not merely record reality, it creates it. Just as light passing through a prism reveals color, not because color is in the light, but because of the prism's structure, so too is the world shaped not by its essence, but by the eye that beholds it. When we look at life through the eyes of fear, everything becomes threatening. When we look through love, even ordinary things become miraculous. Perception is the first current of energy that touches the world, and every reaction we have to life begins there. Two people can stand in the same place, witness the same event, yet live entirely different experiences. One sees limitation, the other sees possibility. One sees an ending, the other sees a beginning. The event is not different. The lens through which it is seen is... The world does not know who you are. It only knows who you believe yourself to be. And that belief colors every landscape. When a person believes they are small, the world becomes immense and cold. When one believes they are part of the universe, the world instantly becomes home. This is not a metaphor, it is the mechanism of consciousness itself. Perception is not passive, it broadcasts. Every thought, every emotion emits a frequency, and space responds with events that match that frequency. You do not see the world as it is, you see the world as you are. Those who came before understood this law, and they practiced the purification of perception as a sacred ritual. They knew that if the mind is clouded by judgment, prejudice, or memory, the lens becomes distorted and reality bends out of shape. They learned to observe without labeling, allowing the light of things to pass through them without alteration. That is the state of clarity in which everything appears in its true nature, untouched by fear or desire. When one sees with a transparent eye, the world returns to its true form, a perfect flow where everything happens at the right time, in the right place. Neither too much nor too little. Modern humans live like photographers who have forgotten to clean their lenses. They blame the scenery for being blurred, not realizing that the dust lies upon their own eyes. They call life unfair, yet it is simply perception that has not been cleansed. When the mind is haunted by the past, every present moment becomes clouded. When the mind fears loss, every encounter carries anxiety. There is no bad reality, only a perspective that has not yet been healed. And when a person dares to turn inward and change their point of view, the world around them transforms as if by magic. The lens of perception is the mechanism through which we and the universe interact. It determines what we see, and from that, what we feel. If that lens is cracked by wounds, all light passing through becomes bent. When we heal perception, the world itself becomes more whole. Reality always responds with exact precision to the inner state of a person. The one who sees love everywhere is the one who has nurtured love within. The one who sees betrayal in all things is the one who has not yet trusted themselves. Perception is the doorway between two worlds, the inner and the outer. If that door is closed, a person becomes trapped in the illusion of separation, forever believing they live in a foreign world. But when the door opens, they see there is no inside and outside, only one continuous current reflecting itself. The world becomes a mirror, and each person is the light shining upon that mirror. Whether the image appears beautiful or distorted does not depend on the mirror, it depends on the light sent toward it. There is one immutable law. Wherever consciousness is directed, that place begins to change. If you look at someone with suspicion, they shrink. If you look with trust, they open. In the same way, perception not only observes, it creates reaction. The universe too does not stand still while you gaze at it. It responds. Each time you change the way you look, it instantly restructures itself to reflect what you now believe to be true. Thus, the first step to transforming the world is not action, it is adjusting the lens. When this law is understood, people stop rushing to fix the world and begin learning to refine themselves. When the heart is calm, the world is calm. When the heart shines, every path shines. When the heart is narrow, the universe shrinks. No one can see dawn while still clutching the night, and no one can perceive love without opening the heart. The world reflects only the degree of openness of the one who observes it. Open a little, and the world responds a little. Open fully, and it responds completely. But to open the lens requires a rare courage, the courage to see the world without defense, to let everything appear exactly as it is. When judgment's filter is dropped, one is no longer protected by illusion. They stand naked before truth. Yet within that nakedness, they rediscover freedom. For when the world no longer needs to match your expectations, you finally see it. And when you see truly, you no longer wish to change it. You simply wish to move in harmony with its perfect rhythm. That is the moment when the observer and the observed become one. In that moment, you are no longer looking at the world, you are looking at yourself through the form of the world. Every person you meet, every situation you experience is a fragment of mirror, reflecting some aspect of you. When you are angry, you are seeing the part of yourself that has not yet been loved. When you admire someone, you are seeing your own potential. Perception becomes a vast mirror through which the universe tells your story in countless forms. And finally, when the lens is cleansed, when the eyes no longer judge but simply witness reality, reveals itself as a long poem. There is no right or wrong, only the dance of energy and the rhythm of existence. In that state, one lives as lightly as light itself, for they understand that the world is not against them, it is only reflecting them. Whenever you wish to see something new, change the way you look. Whenever you find something imperfect, turn back to the mirror. The world has never been wrong. It has only ever been honest with the one who beholds it. Try for a moment to be silent. Look around your room, the sky, or the face of someone familiar, and realize that everything is merely reflecting what is happening within you. When this perception takes root, you cross into another layer of understanding. The world has never been outside, it has always been living within your own gaze. There is a truth humanity once knew, then forgot, and has spent millennia seeking again. Thought is not merely a mental activity, but the first unit of matter. Every object, every event, every circumstance is woven from the same invisible thread. That thread is thought. From ancient civilizations to modern science, humankind has always arrived at the same conclusion. There is no boundary between energy and matter, only a difference in frequency. Thought is the most subtle form of energy, matter not yet condensed. When repeated with enough focus and emotion, it begins to shift from the invisible to the visible, from potential to manifestation. The physical world does not lead, it is merely the echo of what has been thought. Each thought is an energy pulse emitted into the quantum field surrounding you. That field does not distinguish between imagination and reality. It only responds to the degree of focus. When a thought is held long enough, it begins to form a stable, energetic pattern, like ripples on water that sustained become a current. The universe, being the mirror of consciousness, rearranges particles of matter to reflect that pattern into the visible world. This is not magic, it is the natural mechanism of creation. Those who understand this no longer ask why their lives unfold as they do, because they see that everything operates precisely according to the frequency of their thoughts. Thought is the seed, emotion is the water, belief is the light, and action is the soil. When these four elements unite, the seed of thought sprouts into reality. Every creation in history, a symphony, a home, even a civilization began as an idea, yet most people do not govern their thoughts. They let the mind drift like a windless cloud, repeating images of fear, doubt, and lack. Each time they do, they unconsciously send negative blueprints into the quantum field and then are surprised when the world mirrors them back. Thought does not ask whether you want something or not. It only responds faithfully to the intensity you give it. Imagine your mind as a projector and the world as a screen. You may change the scenes on the screen as often as you like, but if you never replace the film in the projector, the same images will replay. Every attempt to change circumstances without changing thought is futile. Reality has no life of its own. It is only the projection of consciousness operating within you. When this is understood, one stops fighting circumstances and begins to work with the root cause, thought. The sages called this process programming the universe. Every thought sent out is a signal into the shared sea of energy. Similar signals connect and attract corresponding possibilities. The more a thought is repeated with strong emotion, the greater its resonance, and the higher the chance it becomes an event. Thought is the instrument for steering the current of reality. The unconscious let the river carry them. The awakened know that by changing the direction of their thoughts, the river itself turns. Some may say this is too abstract, yet quantum science has already shown that the observer's consciousness directly affects the outcome of an experiment. When a particle is observed, it behaves differently than when it is not. That means the very act of attention changes matter. If a gaze can do that in a laboratory, why not in life? When you place attention on a possibility, you activate it within the sea of infinite possibilities. When you withdraw attention, that possibility loses energy and dissolves. Your consciousness is the lamp that illuminates the world. Wherever the light shines, existence begins. To see this power clearly, recall moments when you were completely immersed in a thought. When you were anxious, evidence of worry seemed to appear everywhere. When you were joyful, the world looked brighter. Even strangers smiled at you. This is not coincidence. It is the universe instantly responding to the frequency of your thought. Every thought is a vibration, and that vibration radiates through space, touching people, objects, and events that share its frequency. What you think consistently becomes a magnetic field around you, and whatever exists in that field finds its way to you. When thought becomes conscious intention, you step into the quantum creative realm where mind and matter meet. Try a simple experiment. Choose an image in your mind, a thing, a person, or a situation, and each day spend a few minutes visualizing it so vividly that you can almost feel its texture, its sound, its scent. Do this in stillness, with real emotion. Do not expect simply hold the knowing that it is real. After a time, small signs begin to appear. A chance encounter, a suggestion, an opportunity. The universe begins to answer. Not because you are performing magic, but because you have tuned your frequency to match that possibility within the quantum field. Thought is the invisible hand that writes the script of life. When you learn to control it, you become the screenwriter instead of the actor. But to do so, the mind must be trained like a delicate instrument. It requires stillness, discipline, and trust. A weak thought fades quickly like smoke. A strong, focused thought nourished by emotion and belief lasts long enough to call matter to itself. When the thought is strong enough, the world must obey. Therefore, begin by observing the stream of thoughts you carry. What story are they telling about you, about life itself? Do you think as a creator or as a victim? Do you imagine what you want or what you fear? Every answer matters, for these are the signals you are sending into the quantum field. When you change the story within, you are rewriting your energetic code. And when that code changes, reality must follow. Remember that thought never rests, it is always at work. So let it work for you, not against you. Do not try to control every external circumstance. Simply choose clear, consistent thoughts and nourish them with positive emotion. The world will arrange itself accordingly. For in the deepest foundation of all existence, there is no boundary between the thinker and the thought. They are two faces of the same creative current where thought is the seed and reality is the flower blooming from it. When this truth is fully understood, you no longer fear the future because you know you are writing it. Every thought, no matter how small, is a command sent into the universe. When you think with love, you summon love. When you think with lack, you invite lack. And when you think with awareness, you invite peace. Thought is the language the universe listens to. Speak with pure ideas, for the world always replies in the reality that matches them. There is a power that humanity often overlooks, though it exists in every word spoken, in every breath taken, in the way we call our own name. It is the power of repetition. Since ancient times, civilizations have understood that words are the energy that shapes reality, and when a phrase is repeated enough times, it becomes a bridge between the conscious and the subconscious. The subconscious does not distinguish right from wrong, it only records the frequency of what it hears and turns it into a command for the universe. Each time we speak a sentence again and again, we carve it into the stone of the soul, and from there, reality begins to obey. The wise of old did not speak much, yet every word they uttered carried the weight of worlds. They understood that speech is the most powerful programming tool ever given to humankind. Every sentence carries vibration. That vibration moves into water, into air, into the structure of cells. When we say I can't, the body instantly searches for proof of that statement. When we say I am abundant, the entire nervous system aligns with the frequency of abundance. And when we repeat, it becomes law. The power does not lie in the words themselves, but in the frequency transmitted through them. A sentence filled with the energy of belief can alter the entire course of a lifetime. Repetition is the doorway through which the subconscious remembers. The human mind is like a two-layered landscape. The surface layer of consciousness, where we are aware of what we are thinking, and the deep layer of the subconscious, where all programs run automatically. Consciousness can command only for moments, but the subconscious governs a lifetime. To change destiny, one cannot simply think differently. One must rewrite the code of the subconscious. And the only tool capable of doing that is intentional repetition. Each time we repeat an affirmation, we send a signal down into that deeper layer, gradually reshaping its structure like water dripping long enough can wear through stone. The ancients called this process sacred repetition, for it was not merely a psychological act, but a ritual of communication between the soul and the universe. When we repeat words of higher frequency, such as love, confidence, peace, we open channels for corresponding energies to flow in. Words are the bridge between the material and energetic realms, and repetition strengthens that bridge. Like the chanting of mantras in ancient temples, the sounds are not sung to convince anyone, but to imprint the frequency of light into space, so that every particle of air carries the energy of belief. The human body is a drum that vibrates to the frequency of speech. When we speak long enough, that vibration reaches not only the mind, but the cells themselves. The subconscious begins to remember that rhythm and align with it. Thus, what matters is not only the words, but the state in which we speak them. A phrase like, "I am at peace," said in panic, is just an empty echo. But I am at peace, spoken in stillness, repeated daily, becomes a mantra that opens the gates of energy. The subconscious does not care about language. It hears only the rhythm of emotion and the depth of conviction. Each time we speak, we strike a note, and each note engraves another line upon the soul. In the modern world, people use words carelessly to complain, to doubt, to repeat their fears. They do not realize that such unconscious repetition is a dark ritual that keeps them trapped in old scripts. They say to themselves, "I'm tired, I'm not enough, I can't." And the universe simply nods, "As you wish." Every day, thousands of such negative repetitions form a wall between them and the natural flow of life. Thus, the first task of an awakened soul is to purify speech. Only when words are cleansed can energy return to its luminous source. Sacred repetition requires no complex ritual. Simply choose 3 sentences of the highest frequency that your soul wishes to engrave into the subconscious. They might be, "I am abundant," "I am safe," "I am guided." Each morning upon waking, stand still, take a deep breath, and repeat these words as though they are already true. Not as a plea, but as a declaration. Your voice is activated energy. As you hear yourself speak, the sound travels through your ears, your brain, your heart, and spreads through your body. Over time, your entire nervous system will synchronize with the statements you affirm. The subconscious will take the command and adjust reality to that frequency. When you repeat affirmations over many days, something remarkable begins to happen. Old situations lose their weight. Automatic reactions shift without effort. You find yourself calmer, naturally attracting opportunities that align with your new frequency. This is the evidence of a reprogrammed subconscious. A new belief has been etched into your energetic foundation, and the universe is responding to that new code. Each time you say, "I am worthy," the universe arranges experiences for you to feel worthiness. Each time you say, "I am loved," you call in people who resonate with love. And there is no coincidence, only the precision of sound. Ancient words were once used as codes of energy. The Egyptians carved hieroglyphs on temple walls, not for decoration, but to preserve the vibration of words in space. The Tibetans chant mantras not to pray, but to synchronize the mind with the frequency of the cosmos. Those sounds do not hold specific meanings, but they carry the vibration of truth. When we understand this, every word we speak becomes a ritual. Each affirmation is a line of code, and repetition is the way we inscribe that code into the energetic web of life. Sacred repetition is not mechanical. It is a return to presence. When you repeat a phrase in awareness, you place consciousness in every syllable. Each utterance sends a new wave of energy into the quantum field around you. Over time, these waves merge and reinforce one another, forming the dominant frequency of your soul. And when that dominant frequency changes, all of life rearranges itself to harmonize with it. Remember, the universe does not respond to scattered thoughts, it responds to rhythm. All miracles are born from consistency. Day after day, as you affirm the same truth, you are engraving it into the current of existence. A word strong enough can change the entire course of a life. And when you speak with love, with presence, with absolute belief, words become light, and that light becomes reality. Let each day begin and end with words carrying the energy of truth and peace. Repeat, not to convince, but to remember. Repetition is the act of calling the soul back to itself. And when words are spoken in awareness, they become a bridge between human and cosmos, between dream and reality, between sound and light, then every breath, every word becomes an act of sacred creation. In the realm of creation, thought is the seed, but emotion is the life force that allows the seed to sprout. Without emotion, thought is only a dry image, powerless to summon the universe's response. Emotion is the current of the soul, the fire that transforms an idea into form, the breath of life behind every miracle. Those who understand the laws of creation know that emotional energy determines what will be drawn toward them. Thought drafts the blueprint, while emotion is the force that builds. When these two unite, the universe cannot help but respond. Humans often believe they attract what they want, but in truth they attract what they feel. Every emotional vibration sends out a frequency, and the world faithfully mirrors it. When you feel lack, the universe sends more evidence of lack. When you feel gratitude, the universe expands to provide more reasons to be grateful. Emotion does not merely describe reality, it creates it. Emotion does not come after, it precedes. The physical world is only the consequence of emotional currents sustained long enough. The alchemy of emotion is the art of transforming inner energy into outer magnetism. It does not teach suppression of fear, but how to see through it and discover the light hidden within. For every emotion is energy, and energy is never lost, it only changes form. When you learn to shift the frequency of an emotion, you are practicing the ancient art of turning lead into gold, transforming pain into strength, anxiety into creativity. You do not need to run from or fight emotion, only to understand it and guide it toward a higher state. The ancient sages called this process lighting fire in water, meaning to bring the light of awareness into the dark regions of emotion. When a fear is seen completely, it loses its power. When anger is embraced with awareness, it dissolves into pure energy. In that moment, alchemy occurs. Negative emotion is not destroyed, but reborn as creative power. And that energy, when united with belief and thought, becomes a magnetic force strong enough to alter reality. The universe does not understand the language of words, it understands the language of emotion. A person may say, "I believe," but if within them still trembles fear, the universe hears only that frequency. Emotion is the soul's most honest signal. It cannot be faked, it cannot be hidden. The universe always responds to the true frequency, not to what is spoken aloud. Thus, the secret of emotional alchemy lies not in speaking beautifully, but in feeling truthfully. When emotion and thought are in harmony, you become the strongest broadcasting center in the field of energy, and everything corresponding begins to move towards you. To practice, choose one desire and bring it into your heart. Do not just think, feel. Imagine it has already happened and observe what arises. Not an imagined sensation, but the real vibration that comes when you know the universe is already working on your behalf. That emotion is the frequency the world hears. Like an instrument, you do not need to shout to be heard, you simply need to play the right note. When your heart vibrates at the frequency of what you desire, it becomes a magnetic field that draws it in. In ancient temples, there was once a ritual called the singing of the soul. People did not beg the gods, they sang so that emotion could become the bridge. The deep resonant sounds filled the air, vibrating through the space until the singer's entire being merged with the frequency of the universe. That was how they infused emotion into reality. Every ritual, every prayer, every chant had the same purpose: to awaken the deepest emotion within the heart, where creative energy resides. When emotion is awakened, miracles begin to spread. Emotion is not the enemy of reason, it is the soul of consciousness. The creator does not avoid emotion. They learn to read it. Whenever anger arises, instead of resisting it, ask, what message is this energy bringing me? Whenever sadness appears, ask, what within me longs to be healed? When such questions are asked with love, emotion dissolves and its energy returns to its natural flow. This is the skill of the alchemist, using the light of awareness to transform darkness into the pure gold of wisdom. The greatest magnetism in the universe does not lie in action, but in pure emotion. When you love something deeply enough, the entire universe rearranges itself to help it exist. When you feel gratitude for what has not yet arrived as if it already has, you open the gate for it to enter. When you look at the world with reverence, the world responds with grace. Emotion is the sacred language of life. Whoever understands it can perform miracles without ritual. But for emotion to become magnetic, you must stop judging it. Do not label it good or bad, for every emotion is energy waiting to be transformed. When you cease to resist, the energy begins to flow. When it flows, it becomes attraction. When the attraction grows strong enough, the desired outcome appears. This is a natural cycle requiring no force. The universe does not ask you to be perfect, only to be honest with your feelings and to guide them toward the light. Spend a few minutes each day practicing this alchemy. When a powerful emotion arises, do not push it away. Breathe deeply. Become aware. Feel it fully. Then imagine passing it through a bright flame in your heart. That flame is awareness, pure love itself. Every emotion that passes through it is purified and transformed into creative energy. Do this with fear, with sadness, with anger, and you will see them gradually turning into peace and inspiration. Then you are no longer controlled by emotion. You are using it as raw material to shape reality. A desire becomes real only when it is charged with emotional energy. Thought sends the command, emotion propels it forward, and the universe responds with the corresponding reality. When you feel your desire with your whole soul, you activate magnetism. When that magnetism grows strong enough, nothing can stop the flow of manifestation. This is the secret the ancients called the soul of miracles. Emotion is the bridge between imagination and reality, between the human and the universe. Therefore, whenever you wish for something, do not merely ask for it, love it. Breathe with it, live with it in your mind. Let the emotion of it spread through your body like light through water. And then trust, let go, and allow the universe to do the rest. For when emotion has been sent out with the frequency of love, it becomes an irresistible magnetic force. And what you desire will sooner or later find its way back to you, not because you forced it, but because it hears the familiar heartbeat of the energy you once sent out. There are moments when all the sounds of the world seem to fade away, and within that silence we hear something we have never heard before, the voice of our own soul. Deep within every human being exists a motionless space, where every question is answered without words. Stillness is not the absence of sound, but the cessation of the mind's restlessness. When the mind stops speaking, wisdom begins to rise. And in that very moment, one touches the boundless intelligence of the universe. For thousands of years, sages have understood that silence is the language of eternity. Every insight, every intuition, every great creation has emerged from that wordless realm. The human mind, with all its noise of anxiety, calculation, and desire, can only reach the surface of truth. Only when it becomes quiet, when the waves of thought settle, can the lake of consciousness reflect the vast sky of wisdom. In stillness, one ceases to be the seeker and becomes the channel through which invisible understanding flows. The modern world teaches us how to gather knowledge, but it forgets to teach us how to listen to the natural knowing that already flows within. Knowledge is accumulation, while wisdom is revelation. Knowledge comes from the outside. Wisdom arises from within. And what opens the door to wisdom is not effort, it is stillness. Stillness is the state in which consciousness returns to its source. Not resisting, not striving, not struggling. In that state, a greater stream of knowing begins to flow through like electricity through a clean wire. This silence is the atmosphere of inspiration, the soil where the seeds of creation germinate. When the mind is no longer trapped in thought, we begin to perceive the intelligence operating everywhere. A breeze becomes a teacher, a flower carries a lesson. The universe never stops speaking. It is only that we are too occupied with the noise in our heads to hear it. Stillness is the bravest act of the awakened one, the courage to let go of control and return to pure awareness. In stillness, we no longer ask, "What must I do?" but simply realize everything is already here. There is no path to great understanding that does not pass through silence. Every sage, every inventor, every true artist has touched this moment when the mind stops functioning but awareness remains luminous. It is what people call the flow state, where action unfolds perfectly without thought. This is the manifestation of infinite wisdom moving through the human form. Clarity does not come from analysis, but from allowing truth to reveal itself naturally within stillness. To enter this state, we do not need to leave the world, only to leave the noise within. Begin with a few quiet moments each day. Turn off every device, release every thought, simply sit and listen to your breath. As the breath deepens and becomes natural, the mind slowly dissolves into the background of stillness. There is no you and the world, only a pure sense of presence. This is the threshold where the human meets infinite wisdom, not through learning or striving, but through returning. Stillness is not for escaping reality, but for seeing it more clearly. When the mind is quiet, everything becomes transparent. The tangled problems of life begin to unravel, not because they have changed, but because the one who sees them has changed. Stillness does not make you weaker. It makes you strong in the most subtle way, the strength of one no longer pulled by turbulence. In stillness, you are no longer swept away by life. You become life itself. Every question dissolves into the simple knowing of awareness. There are times when a single moment of stillness can turn the course of destiny, for in that pause, one no longer reacts from old conditioning. A decision born of stillness carries the energy of wisdom. It is not driven by fear or desire, but guided by the clarity of the whole. That is why every action that arises from stillness heals and harmonizes. The more you practice stillness, the more life ceases to feel opposing, becoming instead like a rhythm you can dance with effortlessly. In the quiet of night, if you sit long enough, you will realize that stillness is not only outside, it lives in every cell. Between heartbeats, between breaths, between thoughts. These are the gaps through which infinite wisdom enters. Each time you become aware of such a gap, the inner door opens wider. There is no need to chase after knowledge. Simply remain still, and every answer will arrive like the wind. Stillness does not create wisdom. It merely removes the dust so that the wisdom already within can shine. Those who live in stillness are never in haste, for they know nothing is ever truly missed. They no longer fear loss, for they feel themselves as part of an endless current. Within them lies a quiet trust that everything is unfolding in perfect order. And from that trust, they live in a serenity rare and pure, a peace not born from condition, but from the recognition that they are held in the hands of infinite intelligence. Inner stillness is not a destination, but the natural state that arises when one stops running from oneself, when there is no longer an effort to become someone else, when there is no longer fear of anything. Stillness reveals itself. In that space, Consciousness becomes transparent and infinite wisdom flows through like a river beneath the earth. Those who touch stillness need no external guidance, for they have become conduits of that very wisdom. Spend at least a few minutes each day returning to that inner space. Do not ask, do not wish, simply allow everything to be. Within that peace, you will begin to hear the universe speaking soft as breath, yet powerful enough to shift your entire awareness. From that moment, you no longer live by reaction, but by intuition. You are no longer dependent on the world, for you are connected to the source of all creation. And when stillness becomes your daily breath, you will realize infinite wisdom was never far away. It was only waiting for you to stop speaking so it could finally speak through you. There comes a moment in the journey when one realizes that the true prison is not built of external barriers, but of invisible patterns deeply imprinted in the mind. These patterns are not enemies, but inheritances of the past, a collection of old beliefs and reflexes that once helped us survive, but now keep us repeating the same reality. Breaking a pattern does not mean fighting it, but seeing it clearly under the light of awareness. Only when light shines upon it can the old structure dissolve. And when that shell falls away, one steps into true freedom, the place where the universe becomes the guide instead of the mind. Each person lives inside a box of their own, making the box of who I am, what I should do, how far I can go. The stronger the box, the narrower the life. This box is built from stories told by family, society, the past, and often by fear itself. When you believe in a limitation, that belief becomes a wall around your soul. The Creator does not break walls with force, but with understanding. They recognize that the wall was never real, it existed only in the mind. And when the old belief collapses, the new path appears not because it was found, but because it had always been there. Breaking patterns is the path of awakening. It begins the moment you dare to question what was once considered obvious. Why must I fear failure? Why must I prove my worth through results? Why do I believe I must control everything? Each question is a hammer striking the wall. And each time a piece of that wall falls, light pours in. That is when you realize that what you once called fate was merely the repetition of thought. The universe has never locked its doors. Only the mind has locked itself within an old story. The human mind always wants to know in advance because it fears the unknown. It believes that only through control can we be safe. Yet the truth is that control is an illusion. Every attempt to hold tightly leads to exhaustion, for it is an effort to replace the intelligence of the universe with the calculations of the ego. Surrendering to the universe's guidance does not mean abandoning action. It means acting from trust. Trust that a greater intelligence is orchestrating all things. When you align with that flow, work becomes effortless, decisions become clear, and life unfolds with miraculous precision. Surrender is not resignation. Surrender is the release of resistance. When you stop fighting, energy begins to move. When energy moves, opportunities open. True power does not lie in force, but in faith. Those who know how to surrender are not passive. They are actively harmonizing with the rhythm of the universe, allowing unseen wisdom to arrange what the intellect cannot comprehend. Every step then feels guided, not through words, but through inner signals, a nudge, an intuition, a meaningful coincidence. That is how the universe speaks. Those who dare to break patterns must pass through the twilight of uncertainty. They do not know what comes next, and that is the blessing. For only in the unknown can infinite possibilities emerge. Just as a seed must dissolve in the soil before it sprouts, a person must dissolve their old form to become something new. The moment you stop trying to make things as they were, The universe takes over. It brings you to where you truly belong, not through plans, but through synchronicity, not through calculation, but through guidance. To surrender to the universe is to trust the wisdom of life's current. When a river flows, it does not worry about its destination, for it knows the ocean awaits. So too with us. When you trust, you are carried through detours that seem wrong, yet in hindsight, you see that everything had purpose. Every loss, every unexpected turn was the universe's way of guiding you to the right place. The ego's vision is short. It sees only the road ahead. But the universe sees the whole landscape, always choosing the path most perfect for your soul's growth. To live this way, one must master the art of listening. The universe does not speak in human words. It speaks through the frequency of intuition. Each time your heart tightens, it is a signal of the wrong direction. Each time it opens, even if you do not yet know what lies ahead, it is the right one. The universe guides not through maps, but through feeling. When you are truly present in each moment, you begin to sense the current whispering the next step. You need only be quiet enough to hear it. Those who know how to surrender also trust in the timing of the universe. They do not rush the seed to sprout, for they know everything has its season. They do not compare their journey to others, for they understand that every soul has its own rhythm. And they do not fear getting lost, for they know that no matter how far they wander, there is always a gentle energy drawing them back to center. This is what the ancients called the way, a path that needs no map, only faith with each step. Surrender does not make you lose control, it restores you to the natural rhythm. When you stop trying to bend the river to your will, the water becomes clearer, its course truer, and you realize that everything was already perfect. Breaking patterns is freeing yourself from the fear that you know best. For in truth, the universe knows better. It always knows when to close one door so that it can open another you never dared to dream of. So instead of asking when, ask, am I ready to trust? Instead of trying to predict what will come, open yourself to what is coming. Each moment does not need to be controlled, only received. When the mind ceases to resist, life begins to function like a miracle. You will see the pieces fall into place. The right people appear. The doors open effortlessly. That is the reward of surrender. To live in a flow where everything happens at the right time, in the right place. When patterns collapse, you do not lose yourself, you shed your shell. When you surrender to the universe, you do not fall into emptiness, you are held by a wisdom greater than all reason. And when you truly understand this, you no longer need to cling to anything, for you realize you have never left the hands of life. Let the current continue. Let the universe do its part. As for you, just keep walking in the quiet trust that every path is already leading you home. There are truths that words can never touch, yet the soul understands them instantly upon seeing. A circle, a flower, a star, a beam of light, all are languages the universe uses to communicate with humankind. It is the language of symbols, of images, of frequency and vibration. Humans do not learn only through words, but through images imprinted in consciousness over thousands of years. In the depth of the soul, symbols are not merely shapes, they are doorways to remembrance. Reminders that we are part of the sacred order that governs the entire cosmos. Each symbol is a symphony of energy. When you gaze upon a spiral, your mind instantly attunes to the universe's rhythm of expansion and contraction. When you look at an upward pointing triangle, you feel the rising, focusing energy reaching toward the light. When you see a circle, you feel wholeness, eternity, no beginning and no end. These reactions are not random. The body and soul recognize sacred geometry because they are made from the same frequency. The DNA within every cell carries the spiral structure of galaxies. You are not observing symbols, you are witnessing your own essence reflected back. Frequency alignment is the journey of returning to resonance with the language of the soul. Everything in the universe emits its own frequency, and humans, with their imagination and sensitivity, can tune themselves to harmonize with it. When you gaze upon a sacred symbol, you are not merely seeing it, you are touching its energy. The rational mind perceives shapes, but the soul reads the vibration beneath them. Thus, symbols are not meant to be admired, but to be meditated upon, merged with, remembered. Since ancient times, civilizations have understood that symbols are gateways, linking the visible and invisible worlds. The Egyptians carved sacred images, not for decoration, but to maintain the circulation of divine energy. The Tibetans drew mandalas to recreate the architecture of the cosmos within human consciousness. The Greeks studied sacred geometry to grasp the structure of the divine within all things. All spoke the same truth. Geometry is the language of the soul, and through it we understand how the universe creates. When you practice visualization, you are speaking to the universe in this very language. Every image in your mind is an energetic signal sent outward. When you visualize something with emotion and deep conviction, you are carving a living symbol into the quantum field. The universe does not respond to your words, it responds to the image you hold. A clear visualization can be stronger than 1,000 prayers, for it carries the frequency of absolute belief. And when you hold that image long enough, the universe begins to arrange itself to make it real, not because you demanded it, but because you have broadcasted the exact frequency for its appearance. Sacred geometry teaches that there is no chaos in the universe, only energy patterns too subtle for the eyes to see. Everything from flowers and waves to planetary orbits follows harmonious design. When we fall out of balance, it is because we have drifted away from that rhythm. Frequency alignment means returning to the primal harmony where breath, thought, and emotion all vibrate to the same pattern. When we live in that rhythm, everything naturally returns to its rightful place. The body becomes healthy, the mind becomes clear, and life flows with ease. To practice frequency alignment, begin by choosing a symbol that brings you peace. It might be a spiral, a lotus, or the flower of life. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and let your gaze rest softly upon it. Do not analyze, simply feel. After a few minutes, you will notice your mind becoming still, your breath sinking with the rhythm of the form. That is the moment of resonance. If you continue this practice, you will find that simply recalling the symbol can return you to peace instantly. At that point, the symbol has become your personal energy code. Similarly, visualization is an inner symbol. Each time you imagine a scene, you are building an energetic geometry within your field. The clearer the image, the stronger the energy. When you combine visualization with emotion and breath, you activate the three creative elements: form, sound, and spirit. This is the structure of creation in every wisdom tradition. Sound generates vibration, vibration forms shape, and shape gives birth to the world. Once you understand and apply this, you no longer wish, you create. Frequency alignment is also the recognition that the soul speaks through imagery, not logic. Dreams, intuitions, and synchronicities are the symbols the soul uses to communicate with the conscious mind. When a bird flies across your path at the moment of hesitation, or when a repeating number appears again and again, it is not coincidence, it is the universe responding. Each symbol is a message, and when you listen with your heart, you understand. No translation is needed, only the feeling of the energy it carries. When you live in awareness of symbols, the world becomes sacred. Everything around you begins to speak. The candle flame, the breeze, the light through the window. You no longer live in a physical reality, but in a symphony of frequencies. And whenever your inner state is harmonious, that entire symphony resonates in tune. Life ceases to feel chaotic because you have become the conductor of your own energetic orchestra. Remember, the soul does not speak through reasoning, but through sensation. Symbols, visualization, and sacred geometry are merely doorways into deeper awareness where we stop thinking and begin knowing. Frequency alignment is not a technical act, but a merging with the primordial rhythm of existence. When you draw a sacred shape, gaze upon a mandala, or simply close your eyes and imagine a beam of light radiating from your heart, you are speaking to the universe in the oldest language. There is the language of vibration, and in that state, you no longer need to beg life to give you what you want. You simply align yourself with the frequency of it. When you resonate with love, love comes. When you resonate with peace, peace expands. When you resonate with light, darkness dissolves on its own. Frequency alignment is the return to the soul's original melody, where every symbol, every vision, every sacred geometry unites into one single voice. I am part of the divine order that moves the whole universe. When a person begins to live with awareness, they realize that nothing is ever truly random. Every meeting, every repeating number, every perfectly timed event is the universe speaking through the language of signs. This world is not merely matter. It is a web of subtle vibrations in which every thought, emotion, and action leaves a frequency behind. These frequencies intersect, forming the flow of coincidence where what we think and what happens merge into one. When the mind and the soul vibrate in harmony, reality begins to respond. This phenomenon is called asterisk synchronicity, the perfect orchestration of the universal field, not controlled by us, but resonating through us. Synchronicity is not a miracle. It is the precise reflection of the energy you emit. When you change your inner frequency, the outer world rearranges itself to match it. A person suddenly appears to say exactly what you were thinking. A song plays at the very moment you need to hear it. An opportunity arises just as you release your intention. This is not luck, but the field aligning everything according to your vibration. Like two instruments tuned to the same note, when one string vibrates, the other naturally begins to hum. You do not have to chase signs. When you are still enough, the signs will find you. The universe is an infinite mirror. It does not speak in words, but in coincidences. Every time you notice an unusual repetition, it is the field sending a message. The number 11 appears. A bird flies past at the exact moment. A stranger's sentence makes your heart tremble. All carry the same meaning. Pay attention. The universe is always speaking, but we only hear it when the mind is quiet. Those who live in the noise of anxiety see a chaotic world. Those who live in stillness perceive life as a perfect symphony. The difference is not in the universe, it is in how deeply you are listening. The energy field, or the field, is an intelligent network that encompasses all existence. It connects every atom, every breath, every thought into a unified vibrational map. When you send out an intention, the field responds instantly. It does not judge. It merely rearranges energy to reflect exactly what you emit. If you send out the frequency of fear, the field returns situations that confront your fear. If you emit faith, the field brings support. When you understand this law, you begin to live as an interpreter of signs rather than a victim of circumstance. Reading the signs of the universe does not require mystical skill, only presence. When you are truly present, everything around you becomes alive. The street sign, a phrase, a ray of light, a sound all contain messages. A sign appears only when you are ready to understand it, like a page that opens only when the reader has reached that chapter. Each soul has its own code, and the universe speaks to everyone differently. For one, it may be a number, for another, a song, a scent, or a dream. What matters is not how the sign looks, but the feeling it stirs within you. That feeling is the frequency of communication between your soul and the field. In moments of synchronicity, the boundary between inner and outer dissolves. Reality becomes sacred because you see clearly that you are not separate from the universe, you are co-creating with it. When you think of someone and they call, when you hesitate and a random sentence in a book gives you the answer, it is proof that the field is alive, aware, and responsive. The unawakened call it coincidence. The awakened smile and say, the universe just nodded. To understand more deeply, see signs as a dialogue between your soul and the field. When you witness a series of coincidences, resist the urge to interpret them with logic. Pause, breathe, and ask within, what is the message here? Then remain silent. Do not force an answer, for the answer does not come as words, but as a knowing, a flash of inner recognition, a quiet sense of this is it, flowing through the body. That is the moment when the field translates energy into awareness. At that point, you no longer need proof, for the soul already knows. The field always whispers before it speaks loudly. Those who fail to hear the whisper must learn through upheaval. Gentle signs always precede great lessons. A feeling of unease, an intuition, a dream, all are tender warnings from the field. If ignored, the energy intensifies until it demands your attention. So cultivate the habit of pausing whenever something feels off. The silence in that moment can alter the course of your path. The field never harms. It only seeks to guide you back to your true frequency. Those who can read signs are no longer afraid of uncertainty. They understand that the universe does not need to explain everything. A simple hint is enough for the soul to find its way. Like a sailor navigating by starlight, they do not need to see the shore, they only need to know the right direction. Each sign is a star in the sky of consciousness, illuminating the next step. And when you trust, those stars begin to align, forming constellations and maps that guide you through terrains the mind could never chart. As you go deeper, you realize that synchronicity is not merely a sign, it is a state of being. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions harmonize with the field, everything flows effortlessly. You no longer strain to make things happen, for all things arrive in their perfect time. This is the highest level of reading the signs, where reading is no longer needed because you have become the sign itself. Every movement you make carries the energy of the field, and life becomes a continuous conversation between you and the universe. Let every day become a journey of observation. When something catches your attention, trust that it has a reason. When the same symbol appears again and again, listen. When you feel light, even without understanding why, the field is saying, keep going. When you feel heavy, it is a reminder to pause. There is no need for analysis, for the soul understands faster than the mind. Trust this subtle intelligence, and you will see the world turn into a realm of constant guidance, as if everything is aligning to help you. Reading the signs of the universe is the art of trusting in the intelligence of life itself. It is when you stop asking why and start saying thank you for every coincidence, every synchronicity, every whisper of the field is confirmation that you are on the right path. When you live in that synchronicity, you no longer chase miracles, you become one, and the entire universe begins to resonate in rhythm with your heartbeat. Deep within every human being flow two streams of energy, one moving outward, paving the way and building, the other moving inward, nurturing and understanding. These two streams, known since ancient times, are the masculine and the feminine energies. They are not about gender, but about polarity, two currents of life, two breaths of the universe. One is fire, the other is water. One illuminates, the other embraces the dark. One represents action, the other presence. When these two energies harmonize, a person becomes whole, and from that wholeness they create reality in a way that is balanced, powerful, and natural. A world out of balance is one where one pole dominates the other. When masculine energy prevails, people act excessively, trying to control everything, forever chasing goals while forgetting how to feel. They become rigid, dry, and disconnected from the soul. When feminine energy dominates, people drift into dreams without direction, emotions become chaotic, and they lose the ability to bring what they feel into form. Both extremes are only half the truth. The universe moves in cycles, in the dance of two opposite yet complementary forces. Like day and night, wave and shore, inhale and exhale, creation happens only when both are in harmony. Masculine energy is the spark of will, it says. Do, move, create. It reaches upward and forward, embodying action, focus, purpose, and strength. Feminine energy is the river of emotion. It says, feel, listen, trust. It turns inward, embodying openness, creativity, nurturing, and intuition. These two forces are not separate. They need each other as electricity needs both poles to shine. Without both, no light can be born. Those who understand the law of creation do not try to eliminate one side, but to harmonize them. When the masculine and feminine within begin to converse rather than compete, wisdom and power unite. The masculine builds the structure in which the feminine intuition can dwell. The feminine inspires the masculine action with meaning. One provides the frame, the other the flow. One is reason, the other is spirit. One defines, the other transforms. When the two merge, a person enters pure creativity, where every action arises from deep feeling and every feeling finds expression in action. Imagine the masculine energy as the sun and the feminine as the moon within you. The sun gives light, strength, and direction. The moon reflects, feels, and soothes. When the sun burns too fiercely, the earth cracks. When the moon lingers too long, nothing grows. Only when these lights alternate does life sustain its rhythm of renewal. So too, within us, there must be times of shining and times of stillness, moments to act and moments to release. When you learn to flow between these states, you begin to live like the universe, neither rushed nor stagnant, always in rhythm. The masculine in you helps you stand, decide, protect, and overcome challenges. It is the pure will, the voice that says, I can. But without the feminine, will becomes ambition, and action becomes force. The feminine in you helps you empathize, love, accept, and trust the natural flow. It is the whisper that says, I am guided. But without the masculine, gentleness turns to passivity and trust turns to dependence. Each is strong only beside the other. The true creator knows when to push forward and when to let the river run. When these two energies balance, you enter the state of a complete creator. You act not from fear, but from inspiration. You do not wait for miracles, you become the miracle. Everything you do carries a rhythm of harmony between direction and intuition, between logic and love. Every decision you make carries the energy of wholeness, and the universe responds with effortless flow. Restoring this balance does not come from striving, but from awareness. Listen to yourself. Are you pushing too hard or letting go too much? Are you acting from inspiration or from fear? When you feel rigid, allow yourself to soften. When you feel lost in emotion, stand and move. Each day, let the two energies take turns guiding you. When one grows tired, let the other sing. When one falls silent, let the other speak. The universe never moves in extremes. It breathes in cycles, and so do you. In ancient spiritual traditions, the union of these two forces was called the sacred marriage, the merging of heaven and earth, will and faith, action and surrender. When this happens within a person, they become a channel for pure light. Mind and soul are no longer divided. They create together. Everything you think, say, and do carries the frequency of unity. The outer world mirrors that state, for the universe always resonates with those who've come into harmony with themselves. Look to nature. Every living form is born from the meeting of two forces. No raindrop forms without vapor and wind. No lightning strikes without positive and negative charge. Within you too, every idea manifests only when masculine and feminine energies meet. The idea is the seed of the feminine. Action is the soil of the masculine. When these two converge, creation happens and a new reality is born. Therefore, instead of choosing one side, learn to dance with both. When you act, carry within it the gentleness of trust. When you meditate, embody the strength of will. When you speak, let your words hold the weight of the sun and the tenderness of the moon. When you love, let your love be as deep as the ocean and as clear as the light. That is how you return to the natural order, the order of a creator, in harmony with the very energy that drives the whole universe. And when these two currents truly merge, you will feel something miraculous. There is no boundary between the creator and the creation. You no longer use the power of the universe, for you are the flow itself. In that balance, you become whole, not because you have achieved something, but because at last you have become the heartbeat of the universe in human form. There is a mountain that every creative soul must climb, a mountain with no form, no path, revealed only through the trials of faith. It is the journey that every seeker encounters, when the intention has been planted, but the result has not yet arrived, when the universe seems silent, and the road ahead is shrouded in mist. In that space of uncertainty, only one thing remains to guide the way, asterisk, asterisk, faith, asterisk, asterisk. Not blind belief, but a deep knowing that what is unseen today is quietly crystallizing into form tomorrow. Faith is the energy that keeps the soul standing firm when everything else trembles. The Creator understands that in the process of miracles, there is always a silent phase. After the seed is planted, the soil needs its darkness to nurture the sprout. Likewise, every intention and desire sent into the universal field requires time to restructure energy. But the human mind, so accustomed to light, fears the dark phase. When no results appear, it begins to doubt. When no answer comes, it grows impatient. It digs up the seed to check, and in doing so, breaks the tender sprout of the miracle. One with true faith knows that even when unseen, the process is still unfolding. They do not need proof, because their faith itself is proof. Faith is not the effort to believe. It is the unwavering knowing that no longer requires belief. It is not emotion, but a state of awareness. When you truly have faith, the mind stops debating, stops comparing, stops asking when. You no longer seek signs for confirmation because you know the universe never misses an appointment. Faith at this level does not come from effort, but from the deep experience that every past challenge has already led you exactly where you needed to be. Faith is not hope, it is the understanding that the outcome already exists on the energetic plane, simply waiting for you to walk toward it with steadiness. The climber of the invisible mountain walks in silence. They need no audience, no applause, for the reward lies not at the summit, but in each steady step. Every time doubt rises, they see it, and keep walking. Each time the mind demands evidence, they smile and whisper, "I believed before I saw." For they understand that doubt is not faith's enemy, but its mirror, allowing faith to grow stronger. Without doubt, faith is only a concept. It is in facing the void that one discovers how deeply one truly believes. In every creative journey, there comes a moment called the night of the soul. It is when everything seems to collapse, when what you hoped for appears to turn its back. Yet if you can stand still through that night without fleeing, without complaint, holding only the small flame of faith, you will see that dawn never arrives late. That light does not come from outside, but from within, from the torch of the soul illuminating its own path. When faith endures through the night, you awaken to another level of awareness. You no longer believe in miracles, you become one. Faith does not reject reason, it places reason in its rightful place. The mind seeks evidence, while the soul seeks experience. When these two are balanced, you gain both the intelligence of science and the wisdom of the cosmos. A person of faith is not blind. They simply see farther than the physical eye. They do not need to see the whole path before moving just the next step. They know that every step taken in trust creates new ground beneath their feet. And when they look back, they realize the path never existed before. It was formed by their very footsteps. The universe always tests the creator, not to make them fall, but to remind them that creation cannot emerge from fear. When you attempt to create a new reality, you are challenging the mind's old model. That model resists raising doubt, delay, and fear. But if you understand that these are merely echoes of the past, you no longer let them define you. Faith is the strength that rises above those echoes. It is the silent affirmation that says, "I continue walking," even when the road is unclear, because you know there is a greater intelligence leading the way. Some say they trust the universe, yet collapse whenever things go wrong. It is not the universe that fails them, their faith is misplaced. True faith is not placed in the outcome, but in the flow. Outcomes may change, but the flow is always right. One who truly believes does not need life to unfold according to their plan. They only need to know that whatever happens is part of a greater design. They do not believe the universe will always give them what they want. They believe it always gives them what they need to grow. To keep faith steady, you must practice inner stillness. Each day, take a moment to connect with the quiet, knowing that everything is okay, not because you see results, but because you feel the current moving beneath the surface. When your mind is calm, you begin to notice the subtle signs the field sends. A lightness in the heart, a small coincidence, a gentle intuition. These are not rewards, but the confirmations that the universe is still walking beside you. Faith is the bridge between the unseen and the becoming. When you walk across that bridge, you may not see the ground, yet you still feel the lift beneath your feet. That is how the universe teaches. Believe first, then see. Faith is not a plea. It is a declaration that you are ready to receive. When you believe in the invisible long enough, the invisible must become visible, because that is the law of resonance. The climber of the invisible mountain does not measure distance with their eyes, but with their heartbeat. Each beat is an affirmation, each breath a vow. They do not ask when they will arrive, for they know the destination is not at the top, but in the climb itself. And when the final moment comes, they realize the mountain was never outside, it was within. The climb was never about achieving, but about remembering the strength that was always there. When you hold faith through every doubt, you become that mountain, steady, silent, luminous. You no longer wait for the universe to prove anything, for you have become the living proof of the law of faith. And from that summit of awareness, you understand miracles never come from outside. They are born from the heart that keeps believing, even in the darkest nights, still turned toward the light. There comes a moment in the awakening journey when one realizes that they are not merely living in the movie of life, but also writing and directing it. It is the moment they step out of the role of the victim of circumstance and become the conscious observer, the one who sees the stage, the characters, the light and the shadow without being lost in the role. And from that vantage point, they become the creator, the one who can rewrite the script, adjust the lighting, change the scene, and alter the rhythm of the story. When you are both the actor within life and the director of your own story, that is the highest state of creation a soul can attain. From the moment of birth, each person is handed a role, name, identity, memory, circumstance. They step into it, live it, cry, laugh, fight, and suffer. Yet few remember that they are not the role. They are the one performing it. Every pain and joy is simply part of the script through which the soul learns about itself. When unaware, we are lost in the movie. When awake, we see the movie and still enjoy it, knowing that every scene has its reason. The observer does not deny emotion, they simply refuse to be ruled by it. They feel, they understand, and then they release. They watch each movement of life as one watches a river flowing past, but never pulling them away. A true observer is not detached. They feel more deeply than anyone because they perceive even the invisible. They see fear rising and know it is only mist, not the sky. They see anger appear and recognize it as the echo of old wounds. They see life as the whole canvas, where every event, beautiful or painful, is a perfect piece of a larger design. Thus, they no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but gently smile, "This is happening for me." That shift in perception is the doorway to becoming the creator. The creator does not run from reality, they rewrite it. They understand that the outer world is but a reflection of the inner one. When emotions are adjusted, actions guided, and vibration elevated, circumstances change as well. Like a director switching lenses, the same scene can become tragedy or triumph simply by altering the point of view. The creator knows they cannot control everything, but they can control the energy they emit. And when energy changes, the script changes. Imagine life as a film, constantly playing, and you are both the lead actor and the one in the control room. In one moment, you live fully as the character, loving, fearing, hoping, feeling. In the next, you step back, seeing the full frame, the flow of the plot, the lighting that needs softening, the scene that needs to be cut. That is the gift of the observer, distant enough to see, close enough to understand. And it is within this dual awareness that the soul reaches mastery. Becoming the observer does not mean withdrawing from the world. It means living within it with clear eyes. When you see every movement of the mind, you no longer react by habit. An insult no longer provokes anger because you see it as energy trying to leave another person. A failure no longer breaks you because, it is just a transition in the greater story. When you can observe yourself, you escape the gravity of the unconscious. And once free, you can begin to direct. The creator knows that everything begins as an image within the mind. They do not wait for reality to change. They envision it first. They do not wish, they choose. They do not react, they create. Each morning, they wake as a director, preparing to film and ask, "What story do I wish to tell today?" Then they act, speak, and feel according to the rhythm of that story. When night falls, they review the day's film, not to judge, but to see whether the story is unfolding in alignment. And so day by day, they refine the movie of their life through awareness. The world is not transformed by those who merely play their roles, but by those who dare to step behind the camera and adjust the light. For true light does not come from the stage, it comes from awareness. When you realize you are the observer, no event has power to wound you. And when you become the creator, every moment becomes material for the story you choose to tell. Failure ceases to be an ending, it becomes the scene of transformation. Suffering ceases to be punishment, it becomes the test through which the soul proves its strength. In this journey, the hardest task is not rewriting the world, but rewriting oneself. The old mind will resist, insisting you cannot change, that it's too late, but the observer smiles at that voice, knowing the mind is just a supporting actor, not the director. They let it finish its lines, then turn back to the screen to readjust the light. That quiet persistence is the secret of mastery, never letting the content of the scene dictate the light of the frame. When you truly live as both observer and creator, a miracle unfolds. Reality begins to reflect faster. Every thought, emotion, and action seems instantly answered. What you think, someone says. What you wish, an opportunity appears. This is not magic, it is resonance. You are living in full synchronicity with the field, where the observer and the observed are one. When you become the conscious observer, the universe begins to perform to your frequency. Try living one day as the director of your life. Whenever a situation arises, step back and ask, what is this scene teaching me? When challenges come, see them as the climax of your story, where the protagonist is about to transform. When joy arrives, savor it as the light scene after the storm. When you can view life through the eyes of the storyteller, no chapter will ever frighten you because you know you are the one writing them all. And then a time will come when you no longer try to be the observer because you already are. You no longer try to create because you have become creation itself. You no longer separate the actor from the director, for the two have merged as one. In that realization, life is no longer a film you watch or perform in. It is the natural flow of consciousness telling its own story. A story where the writer, the reader, and the character are simply different expressions of the same soul. In that awareness, you stop trying to master life, for you have become life itself, projected upon the screen of consciousness. When the journey of creation reaches a certain point, a person begins to realize that all the things they once desired, success, love, wealth, peace, were only fragments of a much larger picture. In the beginning, we manifest to fill our sense of lack, to affirm ourselves, to prove that the law of attraction truly works. But one day, we come to see a deeper truth. We have never created for ourselves alone. Everything we have ever brought into being, even what seemed personal, has always been a heartbeat within the great symphony of the whole. When this truth is understood, creation no longer carries the energy of wanting, it becomes an act of service. Light, pure, effortless, like the breath of the universe flowing through human form. When the soul is still in the early stages of awakening, manifestation is a test of faith. It teaches us that thought holds power, that emotion carries frequency, and that belief can bend reality. But as we go deeper, the Creator realizes that the sacred lies not in the result, but in the state of oneness during creation. When we are truly aligned with the universe, everything that comes forth is no longer born from the ego. It is a continuation of the universal current. The Creator no longer asks, "What do I want?" but listens, "What does the whole wish to express through me?" This is the shift from personal creation to unified creation, where the human self is no longer the center but a vessel. Creation is no longer about possession but contribution, no longer about proving but about expressing. For in the state of oneness, we no longer feel separate from the world. We are the river, no longer counting each drop that leaves us, because we understand that all water returns to the sea. In that realization, every thought, every word, every action becomes a petal cast upon the still lake of collective consciousness, spreading silently yet with infinite reach. The unified creator no longer seeks to attract anything, for they have realized they are the magnetic field itself. They do not draw in happiness, they are the embodiment of happiness. They do not call in abundance, they are the flow of abundance. Everything comes to them as naturally as breath enters the lungs, balanced, effortless, and rhythmic. They no longer need to maintain high vibration because they have become that vibration. When we move in harmony with the universe, what comes and what goes are both perfect movements of the field. In the state of oneness, creation becomes more refined and profound. The creator no longer forces outcomes, but co-creates with the universe through intuition. Every idea arrives like a soft breeze, carried out not through calculation but through natural trust. In this state, energy is no longer drained by effort but multiplied through alignment. Like a musician in an orchestra, the unified creator does not strive to stand out, they simply play in tune. And that perfect tuning allows the entire symphony to shine. At this point, we understand that creating for oneself is creating for the whole, and serving the whole is uplifting the self. There is no longer a boundary between me and them, between giving and receiving. When one person finds happiness, the collective vibrates with it. When one heart opens, its energy ripples outward. Therefore, every small act done in the state of unity becomes a doorway to miracles. A kind word, a pure intention, a loving choice all carry invisible resonance that travels far beyond what the eyes can see. The unified creator does not ask, "What will this bring me?" but rather, "What will this bring to life?" For they know that when they serve life, life serves them in return. The universe never leaves the space of giving empty. Every energy offered in love returns not as a personal reward, but as an expansion of the soul. The small self dissolves, and the greater self, the soul united with the whole, awakens. Creating in oneness is also a state without conflict. For when the ego disappears, the creator no longer fears loss, competes, or compares. They act from stillness, not from scarcity. In doing, they do not need to affirm themselves because they already know they are part of a perfect flow. When they succeed, they recognize it as the field's orchestration. When they fail, they know is also the field adjusting direction. Everything becomes a melody of balance. In this state, every manifestation becomes pure. Intention is no longer colored by fear or ambition. Instead, it becomes a prayer, not a plea, but a resonance with the will of the universe. The unified creator no longer wants things to happen. They simply allow what needs to happen to be expressed through them. And this allowing is the highest form of creation not through force, but through presence. Imagine standing in a quiet forest, hearing the wind rustle through the leaves, the water flow over stones. You need not control any sound, yet together they form a perfect symphony. That is the essence of creation in oneness. Each soul is a note, each thought a vibration. When all are in tune, the symphony of life resounds. No one stands out, but no one is missing. And as you listen, you realize you are the singer, the listener, and the song itself. Creation in oneness is no longer a journey of seeking power, but a journey of returning to essence. You no longer strive to become someone, for you remember that your very existence is creation itself. You no longer try to change the world, for you are the world transforming through your awareness. And when you live in this state, everything you touch carries the energy of healing, not because you try to heal, but because you are the embodiment of wholeness. When a person creates in oneness, they step out of the game of desire and enter the art of harmony. They no longer need to prove their manifesting power, for there is no longer anyone to prove it to. They simply live love and allow the universe to express itself through every breath. This is the highest level of creation, when the creator and the universe are no longer two, but one consciousness, one pulse, one being eternally expanding through human form. In that moment, creation ceases to be a goal and becomes a natural state. Every glance, every word, every breath is an act of divine mind expressing through humanity. When we no longer manifest for ourselves, we begin to manifest for life itself. And within that life, everything we once desired already exists, not because we demanded it, but because we have become the source from which all things are born. There comes a moment toward which every journey moves not to gain something more, but to pass on what has been found. When the seeker reaches the full circle of the soul, they realize that every piece of knowledge, every ritual, every experience was never meant for possession, but for transmission. Like a sacred flame that cannot be held tightly in one's palm, the light of awareness only truly lives when it is kindled within another. The seeker's journey ends when they become the first candle in an endless line, where the light is no longer kept but shared, silently, gently, and without end. To close the circle does not mean to stop. It means to return, a return completely different from where it began. The seeker comes back to the starting point, but with new eyes, a new heart, and a soul that now understands the sacred intelligence moving through all forms. They once thought they were searching for the divine source, but in the end they discover that it was Source seeking them through every step, every trial, every fall, and every rising again. When this is seen, the journey becomes a perfect spiral, closing in complete stillness, where no questions remain, only knowing. When the seeker remembers that they are the light, they no longer preach the way, they become the way. They no longer speak of truth, they live as truth. They no longer teach others how to awaken, they simply exist as a mirror in which everyone can see their own light. They no longer reach outward, but radiate from within. Like a lamp that does not try to shine yet causes the darkness to dissolve. This is the true rite of transmission, not through words, but through frequency, not through doctrine, but through presence. When the flame of awareness is passed on, it is never lost, it multiplies. One awakened soul can ignite hundreds of others, not through speeches or persuasion, but through the way they live, love, and perceive. The forerunner does not lead the path, they simply carry the lamp. Those who follow do not need to memorize, they only need to look into the light and find their own direction. Thus, transmission is not the imposition of knowledge, but the gifting of energy, so others may unlock their own sacred essence. Every true transmission carries the shape of love. There is no distance between teacher and student, giver and receiver. Both are expressions of the same source, reflecting each other in the act of remembrance. When the one who gives understands that none are higher or lower, the light shared becomes pure. For light can only travel freely when it is no longer shadowed by ego. In that moment, knowledge returns to its true nature, not belonging to anyone, but flowing as energy between souls ready to receive. In many ancient traditions, the rite of transmission took place in silence. No drums, no grand ceremony. Only two people sitting across from each other, a candle burning between them. The teacher did not explain. They simply looked deeply into the student's eyes, because they knew nothing needed to be said. The light in one gaze awakens the light in the other. When energy meets energy, awareness meets awareness, and the current continues. The student no longer learns through the ear, but through the soul. And when the ritual ends, no one truly departs, for both have merged into the same stream of light. When you have walked far enough on your own path, and it is time to share. Remember that light is only passed on through humility. Those who are truly luminous never need to declare that they know. They simply stand present with an open heart, allowing the energy within them to do its work. That is why every true seeker carries a peace that cannot be imitated. They no longer need to prove or debate, because when you have become light, you no longer need to speak of light. Closing the seeker's circle is also the moment when the soul enters the stage of service, no longer living for oneself, but for the whole. No longer manifesting to fulfill desire, but to allow the light within to expand outward. Every action now bears the mark of love. The unified creator begins to see clearly that every thought and every word has the power to send energy into the field. Therefore, they become gentle yet powerful, careful yet fearless. They live as a continuous ritual where each breath, each glance, each gesture becomes an offering to life itself. The flame of Source does not blaze. It endures quietly. It does not burn. It warms. When the seeker becomes the giver, they understand that the true strength of light lies not in intensity, but in constancy. A single, small candle can preserve its flame for millennia if guarded with gratitude. Likewise, the awakened soul becomes the keeper of the fire, not to raise it higher, but to protect it so other flames may rise. They know that light cannot be forced. It can only invite through gentle and patient presence. And then, eventually, the giver also steps back, for they understand the light has already spread and no longer needs a mediator. The universe will continue to teach, the field will continue to guide, and the flame will continue to be kindled within hearts that know how to listen. The seeker has closed the circle, yet the circle does not close, it opens into infinity, because every soul that is lit becomes a lamp for another. This is the ultimate meaning of the journey, not to become someone great, but to remember that you never left greatness, not to hold power, but to give that power back to the whole. When the flame is passed on, the giver too is reborn. For light does not know separation, it only knows expansion. If you are hearing these words, perhaps you are standing at that very moment, the moment of one ready to pass the flame. You need not teach, you need not be perfect, you need only live in your light. Let the way you exist, the way you love, the way you remain calm in this world be an invitation for others to awaken. For this is the rite of transmission in the new age, not through the hands, but through frequency, not through ritual, but through life itself, realizing it is light. When the seeker's circle closes, you realize there is no end. There is only the eternal continuation of Source telling its own story through billions of smiling, loving, radiant souls. And in that instant, you understand that the flame is no longer in your hands. It has become the warmth of the whole, burning within every heartbeat of life. And you, the one who once searched, have now become what you were seeking all along, the eternal flame of Source.